Welcome back, students. We are going to talk about slope-intercept form today. So the format for slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. So we're going to look at some equations. We're going to practice using that format to graph. So this is where you're going to get really excited because you no longer need to make a table of values. What we're going to do is we're going to get our equations and make sure that if they are not already solved for y, that we do that first. And then once they're in the format where y is by itself, that's called slope-intercept form, then we're going to graph them. Now, when we're looking at slope-intercept form, this b value, that is our y-intercept. So if it were to have an equation, whatever number is in place of b, that is where our line crosses our y-axis. So our b would be the point right here where our line crosses the y-intercept. Then remember our m is our slope. So this number right here tells us our slope. And from this point, we're going to be able to move according to the slope. So we remember that our slope was rise over run. So we'll be able to create more points on the line by finding the slope. So here we go. Let's start with our first equation. Okay, so here's our first equation. We can see that it is already in the format y equals mx plus b. So this number here, the 2, is representing our m, our slope, and the 1 is representing our b, our y-intercept. So what does that mean? That means our y-intercept, the point where our graph crosses the y-axis, is at 1. So we're looking at our y-axis, and the point of 1 would be right here. So right away, I'm able to graph that point. Now, what I next need to do is take my slope, which is 2, and remember that that number represents a ratio, rise over run. And so if we don't have it in fraction form, we just turn it into a fraction by putting it over 1. So this tells me I need to rise, go up 2, 1, 2, run 1. That creates the next point on my line. Then I repeat that process again. I rise 2, 1, 2, run 1. And I could keep doing that until I have several points, but once I have 2 or 3 of them, I'm going to use my straight edge. Remember, you always want to use a ruler to draw your points. And then, we are going to go through the points, make sure you pass, don't connect the dots, but continue in both directions with arrows so that you're filling your entire grid. And there's my graph. I didn't have to make an H chart. So we could see that this is much quicker if our equation is in this format. If it's not in this format, we have choices. We could go and make our table of values. We could graph some of our other ways using intercepts, or we might just choose to solve our equation for y. Let's look at another one. So again, here we go. We've got our equation. We can see it's in y-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. Now this one, some people probably got a little confused because there's, some subtractions or some negatives here. So let's go through the steps we just talked about. Our y-intercept, our b, is this value being added? Well, we don't see addition. So that means that this is not a positive value, but a negative value. So now when we're looking at our y-axis, we need to find -4. So we would be going down here. So that's what the negative is telling us. It's telling us that we're starting in the negatives at -4 on our y-axis. Then, some people sometimes get confused with our slope, right? Because we don't see a coefficient. So what is our slope? Well, if there's no coefficient, that means it's a 1. But we have a negative, so now we know it's a -1. So we have our rise over run. Again, we make any number, positive or negative, into a fraction by putting it over 1. So this tells me my rise, I'm going to go down 1. My run is positive, so I'm going to the right. Down 1 to the right. Then again, I do want to use my straight edge when I'm drawing my line. So, and we make our straight line. And there we go. And we can see we've got our line. We'll try one more with a fraction because I want to make sure you're not confused when you're working on these. So here's our third and final equation. So again, first thing we do is identify that b value of -2. That's our y-intercept. So we go down to -2. Then we look for our slope. This time our slope is a fraction, 3 over 2. So we're going to rise 3 and run 2. So that means we're going to go up 1, 2, 3, run 2. Up 1, 2, 3, run 2. We're going to use our straight edge to make our line, and we have our graph. So we love slope-intercept form. It's much more efficient.